We all saw these clips going viral last weekend. Thousands upon thousands of Moroccan men, out of nowhere, suddenly decided to raid Ceuta. I believe that's the correct pronunciation, but I've heard different pronunciations as well. People poured into the Spanish enclave around Morocco. It's on Africa. So this had actually started another interesting debate, because you know how Spain is pro-Gaza, how Spanish politicians and leaders and actors, they'll all be like, free Palestine. And they've been crapping on Israel because it's a colonial state. So they've actually given rise to another very interesting debate, because we didn't know about, I didn't know about Ceuta. I didn't know about any of that. Check this out. So this guy, who's obviously a massive pro-Israeli activist, he says, nobody asked why you have Spain literally inside Morocco. Good point. Look at this. Spain, Ceuta, and Melilla, sorry. That's Spain. That's on Morocco as well. Why is it? Now, I did look up its history, but I'm sorry. Look at the rebuttal from the other side, because now the other side is confused, because they don't want to offend Spain, because Spain has been so pro-Palestine. But what do we do now? Spain is like, we are against colonialism unless we do it. So this woman says, because people have studied history, Ceuta and Melilla belong to the... She's pro-Palestine, by the way, a Muslim. And she's making an excuse for Spain on behalf of Spain. Ceuta and Melilla belong to the Kingdom of Spain since 500 years. For 500 years, that's what she meant to say. Morocco is Morocco became an independent country only 68 years ago. So basically, she's saying that 500 years ago, there was no Morocco. Therefore, whatever was there can be theirs. Now, where have we heard this argument before, guys? Isn't that what it was the case before 1948 in the current conflicted area that is made up of Israel and Palestine? There was no Palestine before 1948. You know what, guys? I never used to use this argument until this day, because I was like, oh, that's a silly argument. What do you mean there was no state of Palestine? That's a straw man, because there were still people there. So what if there was no state there? But now I understand, why do Israelis use that argument? Because for you to create a new state, you need to say that you had a state before. Just like Spain can say, hey, there was no Morocco there. There were some tribes or whatever land there was. There was no Morocco there. So this little area we call Ceuta, that belonged to no one. That's why it's us now. And fair enough, people of today, according to surveys and studies and elections, have shown that those people don't want to go to Morocco. I don't blame them. But, you know, if Spain remains the way, if Spain keeps going the way it's been going, maybe there would be no difference. Maybe there wouldn't be a difference between Spain and Morocco. So anyway, that's just a side note, but I wanted to show you this. So when we saw horrifying videos coming out of Spain, Ceuta, Spain, we saw these videos. These videos shocked everyone around the world. This has backfired so massively that even Ursula von der Leyen has jumped in, and she's saying the images coming from Ceuta are unacceptable. We cannot allow anyone to come to our union without abiding by our laws. Dangerous crossings must stop immediately. Smuggling networks must be dismantled. Blah, blah, blah. What do you mean? What do you mean? So all these people who are coming into the UK and Europe by boats, just because they didn't come 50,000 in a day, that's what you have a problem with? So you agree that people should not come into Europe without visas? Is that what you're saying? So if we agree on that, then it means the next step is we disagree on the number. 80,000 people came in. You're saying, and you're not taking any action against those when they come in, then let's say 30 people a day. So is that where we draw the line? So we fundamentally agree that people should not come into Europe or first world countries. Oh, I see. Guys, it gets better. This backfired so massively on the globalist. Look at this. Even Giorgia Meloni issued a statement in Spanish, and she said Italy is not going to take these migrants, and Italy is suspending its free movement traveler agreement with Spain. So I don't care whether you're, because obviously on your passport, you can't discriminate on the basis of, oh, you are a fresh North African Spanish person who benefited from Pedro Sanchez's dirty tactics. So come into our country. No, you can't do that. So all you can do is you have to punish Spain and you have to say, sorry, you're on your own. Nobody from Spain is coming in. So that's why Ursula von der Leyen also, you got to remember, Giorgia Meloni is very anti-migrant, but obviously once she came to power, she realized that you can't do anything. You can't do everything that you promise because the world is a lot more complex. And I understand why. So all these politicians, they have to make either really harsh decisions or they have to make somewhat acceptable decisions. So every politician chooses somewhere acceptable, a little bit pushback, but not too much. Because if you push back too much, then you have a major conflict. Things could get out of hand. So that's why Giorgia Meloni made some acceptable decisions. She'd say, you know what, I will push back at every opportunity I get, but come on, I will not start deporting everyone and destroy the union. That's the easier option she took. But in my opinion, if you make those somewhat acceptable decisions and you don't make the right necessary, no matter how harsh decisions they are in that moment, later down the track, you're going to have to make much harsher decisions. So obviously, this conflict this thing is going to blow up in our face. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. We'll see. So that's the reason why even Ursula von der Leyen, who doesn't do anything, she said, this is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. So they have actually thrown their own policy under the bus. And as a result, guess what, guys? Spain gave out this statement. Almost everyone, because they are now trying to damage control. They're trying to make sure that other countries don't follow suit. By the way, I think 3 or 4. France also upped its border with Spain. France took some other measures. They may not have outrightly condemned Pedro Sanchez, but I think 3 or 4 countries actually, they didn't go as extreme as Giorgia Meloni, but they gave some statements that, hey, what the hell is going on? Come on. But this was inevitable. So anyway, the embassy of Spain in the UK said almost everyone who entered Ceuta yesterday has now returned to Morocco. It is not possible to travel from Ceuta or Melilla to mainland Spain. Oh, really? It is not possible. Is that how all of these new Spaniards have been coming to Spain? Without presenting identification at a police checkpoint, the integrity of the Schengen area is fully guaranteed. See, they gave out that statement. The integrity of the Schengen area is fully guaranteed. My foot. There were 5 million Muslims in Europe at the turn of the century. Now there are 50 million. A lot of them have come in the last 10 years. And it ain't a pretty sight. So if you were born yesterday, then I'm sorry. But this statement that Spain gave out is a lie. Check this out. This is what the streets of Ceuta are looking like right now. There is a sea. Actually, I don't know if sea is the right word. There are piles and piles of human feces at every corner of the street. People have had it enough. People have had it. Look at this. Look at this, guys. They said, oh, they all came back, and they showed us some videos of people going back, and they even showed us some heartwarming pictures of an injured Moroccan man, and the police and the army officers are like very nice to them, nicely tending to them, giving them water and all that nonsense. And obviously you have these liberal woke women who are welcoming them. So they're doing that on the one hand. Look at this. Now they're breaking into stores. Look at this. They broke into this store. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at that. They're getting them out. Get out. No charges are laid. In the civilized world, if someone breaks in, you arrest them and then put them in prison. But you know what? And this is just not Ceuta. The Met Police knows similar things are happening in London as well. You know what they do? They actually just get him out and they say, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. There you go. At least they took back what he had stolen. This is as close as you get to anarchy. As close as you get. Who did this? Pedro Sanchez did it. So they started a conspiracy theory. They said, well, Israel is very close to Morocco. So Morocco has been instructed by the state of Israel. Those Jews are behind this. It's the Jews who did this to destabilize Pedro Sanchez's government. What? This is Pedro Sanchez's own bed that he made. He has to lie in it. Open borders means that, guys. Tell me one thing. If you say that, oh, people who come here by boat, we're going to put them in hotels, we're going to give them food and water, and then some of our woke lefty women are going to dance with them and have party, why would you not go? If I'm stuck in a third world shithole, I will freaking go. I will go. This is why I'm saying we have to rise above looking at things as malicious or evil or good or bad. No, we have to look at everything that is happening around us from the perspective of what works. Muslims they're strengthening their bonds, they're uniting their forces. Why? Because they want to survive this. They want to gain more influence. They have seen the impossible. They've got a few congressmen and women in America. They've got a few 25 MPs in Britain. And it's the same in Sweden and France and Germany. So what's the next step? You think they're going to say, oh, you don't like us? Let us go back home. No. They're going to say, oh, we need to increase that. We need to grow more. We need to gain more influence. How do we do this? Find the people in the West, in the existing system, in the status quo, to help us, support us. And that's exactly what Pedro Sanchez and Keir Starmer and this new guy, Andy Burnham, and all these lefty politicians, that's exactly what they're doing. That's why we call them useful idiots, because they don't understand. And we have the same thing here in Australia as well. The Labour Party knows that Muslims only vote for you until they have their own candidate. So in that moment, in that election cycle, yes, the Muslims will help you win against the Tories or the coalition, our Tories. But they are preparing, and and it's all out in the open. They're saying themselves, Muslims are saying themselves. There was a viral clip I played last week where a Sydney Muslim was saying that, our numbers are going to grow, so we need to develop institutions and political parties now, today. So when the general election of 2034 comes, we have our Muslim candidate, so we don't have to vote for Labour. We'll vote our Muslim candidate. That's exactly what they did in the UK. So this is why, if Australia falls for it, shame on us for falling for it again. Especially, at least the Brits can say, hey, before us, it had never happened anywhere else, so we didn't see it coming. They could say that. But we have no freaking excuse. So anyway, so that's what's happening, guys. It's falling apart. It has backfired massively in the face of all of these coward politicians who don't want to take harsh actions today. Maybe because they're driven by their agenda, they're still blinded by their ideology, or maybe something more sinister. They're being paid by George Soros' agenda or some other evil man on a long table. I don't know, though. I don't have evidence of that. I can only say what's happening right before our eyes. But whatever choices they had made 10, 12 years ago about opening up the borders, let's make one united world full of beautiful human beings who love each other and sing la-di-da all day. You know how they're singing la-di-da all day? This is how they're singing it. The Romans called them vandals. That's how vandals vandalize through Rome. That's exactly what's happening on our eye, right before our eyes, guys. That's exactly what's happening.